Welcome back to the Innovation Brief. Today, we're going to dive into a case study that should be on every innovator's radar, the rise and fall of Zillow offers. And, this one is especially relevant for those of you leading innovation in your organizations, so think CIOs, CEOs, directors, and tech leaders in general.
Yeah, this story is a goldmine for anyone trying to build a successful innovation strategy, and there are some really valuable lessons we can take from Zillow's missteps.
Yeah, it's, a classic example of how a seemingly brilliant idea can go wrong when you overlook certain crucial factors. We're going to unpack how Zillow, a company that many people saw as a disruptor in the real estate market, stumbled and what you can learn from their experience.
Yeah, it's a story that highlights the importance of a balanced approach to innovation, one that leverages technology but also understands its limitations.
Okay, so let's start with the vision behind Zillow offers. They aim to streamline home buying and selling by essentially flipping houses quickly, their secret weapon, an algorithm designed to assess property values and manage transactions. It sounded revolutionary, didn't it?
Oh, it did. The idea of using technology to bring efficiency and transparency to a traditionally complex market was very appealing. However, the execution revealed some fundamental flaws.
And the biggest one seems to be the over-reliance on this algorithm, right? Zillow seemed to believe it could accurately predict the nuances of the housing market, which is a pretty bold assumption.
Right. While algorithms can be incredibly powerful tools for data analysis and prediction, they're not foolproof, especially in a market like real estate, where factors like location, neighborhood characteristics, and even emotional appeal play a significant role in determining a home's value. These are all things an algorithm can struggle to capture accurately.
And it's not like there weren't warning signs, right? Zillow's Zestimate tool, which estimated home values, was already known for its inaccuracies, often failing to keep pace with the dynamic nature of the housing market.
Exactly. Relying so heavily on an algorithm that had already shown limitations for a complex undertaking like Zillow offers was a risky move from the start. It raises a really critical question for any leader driving innovation. How much faith should you place in an algorithm, especially when dealing with real-world complexities?
Yeah, it's a balancing act, isn't it? Using data and technology strategically while also recognizing their limitations.
Absolutely. And this is where human judgment, experience, and domain expertise become crucial. You need to have people in the room who understand the intricacies of your industry and can challenge the algorithm's output when it doesn't align with real-world observations.
That reminds me of something we talked about before about fostering a culture that encourages constructive criticism.
Yeah, that's a key takeaway from the Zillow offers story. Even if a leader is passionate about an idea, like Zillow CEO was about this program, it's critical to create an environment where team members can voice concerns, challenge assumptions, and present alternative perspectives without fear of reprisal.
So essentially, it's about avoiding groupthink and ensuring a more balanced, objective decision-making process.
Right. Exactly. And that's especially important when you're dealing with innovative ideas that, by their very nature, involve a degree of uncertainty and risk.
So over-reliance on an algorithm is one key factor in Zillow offers' downfall. What other assumptions were there that contributed to their stumble?
Yes, another critical assumption that proved detrimental was the expectation of a stable and predictable market. The program was launched before the pandemic-driven housing boom, which created unprecedented volatility and unpredictability.
Right, that's right. The sudden surge in demand, along with supply chain disruptions and fluctuating interest rates, really threw a wrench in Zillow's carefully laid plans.
Yeah, and it really highlights the importance of building flexibility and adaptability into your innovation strategies. You can't always predict what external forces will impact your market, so you need to be prepared to adjust your approach when the unexpected happens.
So it's like the old saying, no battle plan survives contact with the enemy.
Precisely. And in the business world, the enemy can take many forms. Economic downturns, geopolitical events, technological disruptions, even pandemics.
So what could Zillow have done differently? Was there a way to mitigate these risks and test their assumptions before going all in on this program?
That's a great question, and it leads us to another crucial lesson from this case study.
I'm all ears.
Before committing significant resources, Zillow could have taken a more measured approach, testing their assumptions in smaller, less risky ways.
I see. Instead of jumping into the deep end, they could have just dipped their toes in first.
Exactly. They could have run pilot programs in specific markets, partnered with experienced home flippers to gain insights, or even use their existing data to create simulations of the program's performance under different market conditions.
So it sounds like they missed some pretty crucial opportunities to gather real-world data and validate their assumptions before scaling up the program.
That's right. And this is a common pitfall for many organizations that are eager to innovate. The excitement of a new idea can sometimes overshadow the need for thorough due diligence and testing.
The allure of the shiny new object.
Precisely. But as the Zillow Offers story shows, it's crucial to temper that enthusiasm with a healthy dose of pragmatism and a commitment to rigorous testing.
This is incredibly valuable for our listeners who are, in the thick of it all, trying to navigate these complexities. So what other insights can they glean from Zillow's experience?
Well, there's one more aspect of this story that I think is worth exploring: the clash between digital simplicity and real-world complexity.
This is where it gets really interesting. Tell me more about this clash.
Zillow, with its digital prowess and data-driven approach, may have underestimated the messy realities of real estate transactions.
Because unlike the digital world, the real estate world isn't always neat and predictable.
Exactly. Real estate involves a lot of moving parts, multiple parties with their own agendas, emotional considerations, tons of paperwork, and timelines that can easily go off track.
It's not as simple as clicking a button or running an algorithm.
That's right. And this is a crucial lesson for any organization attempting to apply technology to solve complex, human-centered problems. You need to have a deep understanding of the nuances and complexities of your industry, and recognize that even the most sophisticated technology can't always account for all the variables.
So what you're saying is, don't let the allure of a shiny new technology blind you to the fundamental human elements at play.
Precisely. And don't assume that a digital solution will automatically translate into real-world success.
This is gold for our listeners who are leading these innovation initiatives. It's a reminder to stay grounded in the realities of their industry, to consider the human element, and to acknowledge that sometimes the most elegant tech solution isn't always the best solution.
Well said. And it brings us to a crucial takeaway from the Zillow Offers saga. Even the most sophisticated technology has its limitations.
You can't simply apply a digital solution to a complex, human-centered problem and expect it to work perfectly.
Exactly. So while technology is an incredible tool for driving innovation, it's not a silver bullet. You need to approach it strategically, recognizing both its potential and its limitations.
This is such a valuable point for our listeners, especially for those leading innovation initiatives in their own organizations.
Right. It's a reminder to stay grounded in the realities of your industry, to consider the human element, and to acknowledge that sometimes the most elegant tech solution isn't always the best solution.
So we've talked about the assumptions Zillow made, the lack of testing, the role of leadership bias, and the clash between digital and real-world complexity. What stands out to you as the most significant factor in the downfall of Zillow Offers?
It's hard to pinpoint just one factor. It was likely a combination of all of them, but if I had to choose, I'd say the over-reliance on the algorithm, coupled with the lack of rigorous real-world testing, were major contributors.
It seems like they put all their eggs in one very sophisticated but ultimately flawed basket.
Exactly, and that's a cautionary tale for all of us. Innovation requires a balanced approach, one that embraces technology but also acknowledges its limitations, and one that values data-driven decisions and thorough testing, even when an idea seems like a sure winner.
Absolutely. So what can our listeners learn from Zillow's missteps? How can they apply these lessons to their own innovation journeys?
That's a great question. Let's dive into that right after this quick word from our sponsor.
Welcome back to the Innovation Brief. We're unpacking Zillow Offers Journey, a case study that's packed with lessons for innovators like you.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, isn't it, how a company that was at the forefront of real estate technology could stumble like that. But as we were discussing, their missteps offer really valuable insights for those of you navigating the world of innovation.
Absolutely. So for all our listeners out there, especially those of you leading innovation initiatives, CIOs, CEOs, directors, and tech leaders, what are the key takeaways from Zillow's experience?
Well, first and foremost, remember this. No matter how groundbreaking your innovation seems, rigorous testing and validating assumptions are non-negotiable before committing significant resources to it. I mean, don't get swept up in the excitement of a new idea without thoroughly vetting it first, right?
Yeah, don't let the allure of a shiny new technology or a seemingly revolutionary concept cloud your judgment.
That's it. And this is especially crucial when dealing with complex real-world scenarios that involve human behavior and external factors that are impossible to predict, like the housing market, for example.
Right, right. Human emotions, market volatility, unforeseen events, these are all things that algorithms often struggle to grasp.
Yeah.
Have you seen similar situations where companies got a little bit too excited about a new technology without properly validating it in the real world?
Oh, many times, unfortunately. One example that comes to mind is from the retail industry. A company I worked with was developing an AI-powered system for personalized product recommendations. They were so convinced that this technology was going to completely revolutionize the customer experience and boost sales significantly. But they just failed to adequately test the algorithm with